Ruthie May is our wonderful, full of life, vivacious 3-year-old. At about 6 weeks, when they kind of discharge you from postpartum care, our practitioner noticed that the bones in her head weren't growing like they were supposed to. The one in the back should already be closed, but the one in the top was also quite a bit larger than it was supposed to be. She said as I was leaving, which kind of sparked a lot of our fear, was whatever you do, she's like, just don't Google what this is. I have a friend who works with a lot with children and developing children, and she kind of said, yeah, like kids who have this issue have developmental and sometimes neurological issues as well. So that was, it scared us. There was a bunch of tests they did, some more invasive than others, and everything just came back really inconclusive.
At that point, we had to just give it to God. We needed a miracle.
We had to start really digging to find out where we stood. We've been going here for so long. We knew that what the word said about healing. We knew that our church tells us about healing. We knew that like we are healed. Pastor Leanne always, and like Pastor Zach are always very much like, you can read the word, you can hear the word, you can hear every Sunday, you can go to church and listen to it. But until you start taking action, you have to take action, because that's when, faith without works is essentially dead, right?
A lot of that action was just, immersing ourselves in podcasts, books.
It didn't feel like anything was changing. It felt like the gaps were still there. She was growing. She was doing really well in that sense, but they still had these, gaps in her bones. And I basically cried out to God and I said, I know that she's healed. I know what your word says about healing, but I just need something that's going to keep me pressing on. It was at this point when, as we did before with our kids before, we put them to bed, we pray with them, and I was just holding her and I was praying for her, and I got this like strong voice in my heart, speak to her dry bones, which I was like, what? Like, I know Ezekiel talks about dry bones. I never really have read it, like, to be honest. I went in my Bible app and I just plugged in dry bones. He said to me, prophesy over those bones, dry bones. Hear the word of the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise and suddenly a rattling. The bones came together, bone on bone. It was what I needed. It was exactly what we needed to hear. It was so specific to what we needed at that very moment, and that became our anthem, I guess, for her healing. Every night we just said, your bones come together, bone on bone, and that's what we did. I guess to keep my faith strong, I just avoided, I don't know if this is right or not, I just didn't touch her. I wouldn't touch the spots, because I was like, I just don't want to be reminded that they're there. I just wanted to keep, my faith strong, keep doing what we were doing, and I felt like every time I would touch, they would just kind of bring me back down to, it's not happening. So one evening, I was brushing her hair, and it was like a very strong sense of peace came over me, and it was just as if God said, it's okay, you can touch her head, it's okay. And I was like, okay. So I rubbed my hands over the spots that I knew, and there was no gaps.
There was no gaps, yeah.
Their bones came together, bone on bone.
So it was a lot of celebration that night and sharing the great news with her 2 older sisters.
We did not do that.
Well, they were there. Yes, we did.
Okay.
Of course we did. And cut.
I don't leave room for anything else. That was the best thing I think we did. I immersed myself in every bit of healing encouragement I could get. Like so many good podcasts out there, so many good messages. We go to a church that has like so many good resources. I made no room for anything else. I was like, okay, there's gonna be no room for doubt to creep in. If there's just the positive, life-giving messages being thrown at you, there's everything else kind of just washes away.